Welcome to Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto, your best friend in real estate, sponsored by Tucson Appliance, Chris and Corbin Edwards. Welcome to another show. I have a very exciting guest here with us today. Neil, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you happy to be here?
Of course.
Of course. So welcome to our show. We're really excited to learn a little bit more. There's so many different things that I definitely want you to share, and we may not have all the time for all of them today, but maybe we'll have you again as we're speaking right now. I think you have some very amazing shares, especially for the people that are listening to us. So without further ado, we're going to get started, everybody. Welcome to Lifting You Up. And remember, this show is truly here to empower our community, and we're going to dive right into our mission statement, Why Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto. Our mission is to elevate, empower, and celebrate the story of Hispanic leaders and local business owners in our community. Through meaningful, heartful conversations, we shine a light on individuals who have overcome cultural conditioning. And man, we've already been talking a little bit and talk about that. What shifts in you and why do you make different decisions than what we were supposed to do and what we grew up with? Self-doubt and struggle, and they have chosen to rise, lead, and inspire. This platform, hosted by Chris Edwards and myself, is dedicated to telling more than just stories. It's about sharing real turning points, deep self-discoveries, and the wisdom gained along the way. We believe these voices matter. They reflect the heart of our community and the strength within our culture. So without further ado, I want to introduce Mr. Neil Becerra. And he's really happy to be here and share today. We're going to hear some amazing stories and shares. But before we do, I just want to send a big shout out to Chris and Corbin Edwards for allowing us to be able to do this and to give back and to bring these special guests with us. I'm going to dive right into a little background for Neil. His background is in technology, electrical, and communication. He owns a company called Wired Solutions LLC that specializes in home automations and surveillance. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Good. All right. And then just know, Neil, that our show is bilingual. So we speak Spanglish, Spanish, English. He also works for TEP, and his background is in data communication, networking, audio, video. Now, Neil was raised everywhere and nowhere. He's traveled the world, and I love that because I feel like our last guest also shared a lot about his travel, and it's just so incredible the perspective that you get, especially when you were raised or you grew up moving around, and how you adapt. And so I'm really excited to hear your story. We're gonna dive on in. Do you want to say hello to everybody before we get started?
Hello. Hi.
We're happy to have you. All right, so let's dive right in. We're gonna start with the first question that I ask everyone. It's gonna be, tell me about one or multiple. I know that we spoke about, you have so many, but whatever comes to heart to you right now, a story, a turning point that changed your path drastically, significantly within, moments or a short period of time.
So last year I went on a fishing trip, and I really didn't want to go because it was in Mexico, down in San Carlos, and for the longest time I had this fear of even going down into Mexico, and especially as far as San Carlos. To me, that was really far. So took some convincing. I agreed to go. And I swear, we literally crossed the border. As soon as we crossed the border at Nogales, my buddy's truck that we were in, it overheated. The transmission overheated. So the truck broke down. So inside, right, I'm kind of like, inside, I'm like, all right, we're going home. This is over. Like,
It's done. I knew it. Let's go.
I made the effort. Like, they really can't knock me for that. So I came this far, but hey, we're going home. It's over. And I saw everybody kind of got a little bit upset. They got it just kind of put a damper on the whole day in the event. So there were two vehicles, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to get there. So I'm playing along, but inside I'm like, yeah, we're going home.
Yeah.
So so there were, let me see, I think there were four, wound up. Yeah, so there was 3 and 3.
Uh-huh.
So 4 got in the car and they carried on down the road, and I stayed with the other friend. We stayed behind. What happened was I didn't really want to ruin it for everybody else, so I agreed to have my truck taken out. So I had my niece and nephew. They drove my truck down to Nogales to the American side, and so we crossed back over, and they brought me my truck, and my buddy and myself loaded up in my truck, and then we went down the road. So as we're going down the road, I'm still a little bit hesitant about going. And we go, and
but you just decided to go, so
I didn't want to ruin it. Yeah, I didn't want to ruin
Okay.
it for everybody else. I saw how excited they were, so I was like, well, I mean, I'll just go with it. So we went, and I think it was a test. It was a test because if I hadn't gone, I wouldn't have experienced what I did, and because I did go, there was something waiting for me, and it really wasn't even the fishing. The fishing, it was fun. It was cool. I'm not gonna lie, I had a good time. But what got to me is I was raised on the water for a majority of my life. So my stepfather was Navy. I enjoyed the ocean. Spent all my time as a kid on the water at the beach because it's free, right? It doesn't cost you a dime to go to the beach. You can go hang out all day long, go swimming. So that's what I like. I like the ocean. Just uncomfortable in Mexico, even though my family's from Mexico.
Bit,
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, but if you don't go regularly, you hear all the horror stories. Yeah.
Yes. So so that was Friday. Saturday we woke up, had breakfast, and then we met the boat that we had chartered to go fishing, and we shoved off, got out to open waters, and I just kind of went and sat out on the bow with the guy I had driven down with, and we were just talking, and I couldn't get off the bow. I couldn't get away from the bow, and I couldn't get away from the calm of the water and how still it was. And then you hear, the splashing of the water against the boat. You can hear, the waves, and it's just you look out, and the water just goes on forever. It goes for miles and miles. You can't see land. You can't see buildings.
You literally just took me there right now.
You can't see people. Right? All you see is the water. And it was in that moment that I looked, and I've been an angry person for a lot of years, harbored a lot of emotions and a lot of it really isn't the best thing to do. But when I looked out at the water, and I realized that no matter what I'm going through, right, I'm just a speck. And when you think about the world and how big it is, and you think about your problems are really minuscule when you look around, and you kind of get this feeling that whatever you have or you're going through, it's nothing. It doesn't really matter. In the bigger scheme of things, there's a whole wide world that some people haven't even left this state. So, and how many haven't even left this country, right? Or seen the ocean in that manner. And when you look at it, there's so much out there, and it's so much bigger than you. So I kind of made my peace internally with myself.
Wow.
And
how long
came
ago
to
was
an
this?
understanding. This was last year in June.
Last year in June. Okay.
Almost, I think next year will be I want to say, no, I'm sorry, not next year, I'm sorry. I want to say next week will be almost to the date.
Oh my God.
Pretty sure I want to say it's probably been about a year exactly by next weekend. So like I said, when you think about what you're going through, and then you start thinking about, well, where was I born? I was born here, United States. And some people are unhappy because of the state we're in, whatever. But think about where you could have been born. You could have been born somewhere else where you have nothing. You know nothing else. I mean, what if we were born in a country that didn't have running water or housing, clothing? right? You got to hunt for your food. There's no stores. There's no air conditioner. There's no heater.
Yeah.
So how can one be so upset when there's so many other issues out there? It's just that turned into the way I started to view things.
Okay.
It's like you can be mad, but how long do you really want to be mad for? How long do you want to carry that anger? And then, why? What's the point?
So, I thank you. Like, you really took me to that moment. I appreciate all the detail. Now, tell me, let's dive into a little bit more. When you say that really changed perspective, and you talked about anger earlier and just maybe stuff that we carry over the years. Tell me, like, especially in the last year, give me some examples of where you've seen how that shifted you, how that moment has changed your life. Give me some examples.
So, loss is one, like losing relatives, family members, loved ones. You lose somebody you love, and then you feel, I don't know, I hate to say the word betrayed, but you kind of feel betrayed that they were taken from you. And so angry in the sense that I've lost someone that I really care about, that I love. And then, when things aren't going your way, things aren't always going to go your way. I mean, if they did, I guess life would be really easy. And it'd be easy for everybody, but it's not easy for everybody. There's always something to overcome. But I started to feel, why me? Like, what did I do to deserve all of this?
All you.
And then it's really not, I had to understand that it's not just me. There's millions of people who go, if not more, they go through loss and suffering. And so you have to take the bad with the good. It can't always be good. You can't always win. You just don't.
Yeah.
You're gonna lose. You have to lose. Losing is kind of built into it, right?
Have you had a lot of really, really good things in your life, Neil? And this is just so we could share with the audience, that you felt like maybe you hadn't addressed the bad as well as you're doing it now. Tell me a little bit about that.
So yeah, I can tell you that for the most part, it's been good. I've done well on my own.
Give us a little background on that. Yeah, give us a little.
So when I say good on my own, it's just more, self-driven, on necessity.
So modest.
Something that it's something that you strive for, right? And how do you get there? Well,
Right.
it's not just going to show up at the front door. They're not going to knock and say, "Hey, here you go. You wanted this? Here you go. It's waiting for you right outside. Go get it." No, you got to get up and go and get it.
Yeah.
So, once I got out of the house, my mother's house, I did struggle for a while, right? Took some lumps, but then I figured, okay, what am I going to do? How am I going to?
What age?
How am I going to go from here, and how am I going to go vertically? When I left my mom's, I was 20.
20.
So I was
Okay.
20 years old. I already had my first son. He was born when I was, let me see here, 19. So yeah, I was 19. 19 when I had my firstborn, and I just really wasn't doing much, and I was struggling. So at the time, my father-in-law, he just kind of talked to me and asked me what I was going to do with myself, and I really didn't have an idea. Took some little talk, but we did have a talk, and I decided I was going to join the military, join the Coast Guard, and that's what I was going to do, was just go get some type of training and come back and do something with myself. But it was cut short. I went in. I was discharged not too soon after. I had an early discharge, and I came back home, and I just was, I can't live the same way. I can't do the same thing. So I just went a different direction. I put my head down, started working in a technological area, which is where the groundwork was laid, and then it led into a career with a telephone company. I spent about 15 years there, and then I was able to parlay that into a position with Tucson Electric Power. All of that created what I have today, right? It made the opportunities, but it presented me with the abilities and it gave me the talents that I possess now. Without that direction, without those jobs, I wouldn't be where I'm at today.
And now you're even a business owner.
Yes, so in 2018 I started a small business. It's called Wired Solutions. And I just really put to work everything I had learned over the years. So everything that I do on my own, right, I learned it from somewhere. And it came from all the jobs I held through those years, those formative years early on in my career. So early 20s into my mid 30s is where I pretty much picked up all of these trades and I learned it. So I thank, the people who gave me the opportunity to work where I worked then and where I work now. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't even be here. And so many people get upset about where they work, right? They hate their job. Like, oh, I hate working here. This place is horrible. This place sucks.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing you have to look at is, okay, well, it sucks, but what has this place done for you? How many, do you own a house?
Yeah.
Do you own a car? Right? Have your kids gone to college? Do you have health insurance? Do you have dental insurance? Do you get to take vacations? Okay, so if you can say yes to all of those things, then you probably don't really hate where you work.
Right.
You might, the situation you might hate, but change it. Do something different. Go in another direction. Most companies have other jobs available to you, and if you don't like what you're doing, then take another job. Apply somewhere else. Move up the ladder if you want. Move laterally, move upward. It's really your choice. But to say you hate where you work, right? The company sucks, or it doesn't, because look what it provides for you.
Right.
Puts a roof over your head, right? Puts clothes on your back, food on your table, gives you the things you need. So if you're gonna go to work unhappy, right? I mean, what are you gonna get? You're gonna do the same work.
Right.
The work's not gonna go away. You're gonna be there for 8 hours, in some cases 10 or 12. But you're just gonna be there for what, 8 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, unhappy? Or you can just go to work, be content, be happy, and go home. I don't know.
I love it. Okay, so I'm hearing a lot. Let me just reflect to you a little bit and see where this takes us to our next couple questions. But I hear a lot of appreciation, a lot of gratitude, Neil, coming from you. I hear there is so much that you are grateful for, especially even, okay, just all of these people have jobs. Sometimes they don't love them, sometimes they're miserable, but you make it sound like, hey, it's a choice to see things that way. It's also, if there is so much balance, right? Like if there is ability to take vacations and to have time off and to provide, then is it really miserable? Like there is this level of appreciation that you have for what all your trades and everything that you've learned and all of these places that you've been part of, that you've worked for, that you really see the value of what you've learned and the people you interacted to get to where you are right now. Is that accurate?
Yes, and to your point, like you said, miserable. That's a choice. You're making a choice to be miserable.
Right.
So you can make a choice to be miserable or be happy.
Right.
It's really up to you.
Yeah.
I mean, so you make of it what you want, and that was really what it was about. It was like, okay, I've chosen to be unhappy. I've chosen to be angry. I've chosen to feel like, why me? Why have I been selected to, and feel like I'm the only person struggling, right?
Yeah.
And then it's a clarity, like you're really not. You're not struggling. You're fine. You're doing well, and just look around you.
And that's a beautiful discovery, insight. That's a beautiful realization, because I feel there's so many people out there that don't ever get to that place. And they just focus on the current situation, what they can't change, and they tend to not even really appreciate all these other things that allows them to do. So that's a beautiful realization that a lot of people don't get, and I love that you did. And it sounds like last year was a very big impact for you, and it's just so cool that it was in a moment where you're out in the middle of nowhere. You didn't even want to be there.
Right,
You're like,
right.
I don't want to be there. And you got such beautiful insight of it, and you got perspective, and I feel like your level of appreciation and understanding that there's so much balance, but there's so much to be grateful for, that took it to a completely different level, which I love that. So that's gonna dive into our second question, and I want to know, through this experience, this one particular that you're talking about, what do you think you learned about yourself that you had never known would be a discovery you made about yourself through that you never imagined would be you?
So I felt I was just built to know, right, to know hard times, suffering, to know pain, to know defeat. But, and I guess to know, I don't even want war within yourself.
Wow,
But then you get to out there and you see peace and tranquility, and I learned that, okay, I can have, not you, I can have it. You can have it, yes, but for a long time I felt I just was incapable of having it. But then you look and you realize that, okay, I can have it too. And you have to make peace with whatever you got going on. And so I don't even want to get religious, because it's not what I'm about, but there was a moment where I looked up and I said, okay, I get it. I understand now. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I totally get it. I'm here, right? And, forgive me for my thoughts. And I'm just going to go in a different direction now.
Okay, I definitely want to highlight this, because at the end of the month we do this show where we're actually highlighting everything, and this is like by far my biggest takeaway from what you said. You said, I was built to know defeat. That's what you thought you were built for. Like, that's been a huge part of your life, and all of a sudden that you realize that you can see and experience tranquility for yourself. Again, it's so beautiful just because of so many people out there in this world, and I feel like so many of us are lost for such a long time, and we feel like we're just on this planet to learn, or to know defeat, to battle, to be at war, how you said. And there's a moment in time that something will shift, that you're like, no, I can have something more. And I always get so curious about, what was it that happened that changed? And it sounds like for you, did it start before, or did it start at that moment last year?
Well, it started at that moment where I just kind of looked inward, and it was like, okay, it's that's what I said, the world's just so much bigger than what I got going on. What I got going on is the most important thing to me.
Right.
Because it's me. I'm thinking about me. I'm not thinking about everybody else. I'm thinking about my issues, because who's thinking about my issues besides me? Nobody.
I want to, so we don't have enough time, but I want to dive so much more. I want to say, what was going on in your life? Who were you dating at that time? What was like the situation with work? I feel like there's so many contributors that bring us to those moments, but we're going to have to do another show.
It's just a lifetime of it's a lifetime experience and how you feel.
Of bundling up.
You just can't carry, and I carried all of that from childhood into adulthood with me, and it just makes for a bad combination.
Yeah.
And when you have to let it go, it's like literally you gotta let that bag go. And until you let it go, you're not gonna know peace. In the battle, like I said, the war, it's within yourself. It's not. Right. It wasn't with me with anybody else. It was me against me.
We're our biggest enemies sometimes. Okay, last question before we dive into exiting or finishing everything. What wisdom? Okay, so if anybody's listening to you right now, Neil, and they're going through that, they haven't seen the light, they haven't seen that, hey, peace could be mine as well, and they're going through that hard time, they're in the middle of that, right before you went on that boat, and I don't even know if it was a boat or it was something else, but right before that, if they're listening to you right now, what do you want to tell them?
To look around you. You have to look around. You have to find the good. There's going to be bad, obviously, but there's also good, and you have to find the good. And when you do, just remember you have some good, and the bad may outweigh the good, which in most cases it does, but you still have some good. And then you find something that brings peace to you. It could be anything. It doesn't even have to be getting on a boat and going out to the middle of the ocean. It could be, you know, taking a morning walk and looking at the sunrise or looking at the sunset, or some place that you go to that's nostalgic, that brings back memories of happiness and joy. It's there. You just have to find it. Unfortunately, some of us have to look longer and deeper than others.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look around, I'm pretty sure you're gonna find it. And it doesn't have to be. It doesn't come from a store. It doesn't. You can't buy it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You really can't.
But it's there, and it's available, and you gotta look for it.
You do. You do. And once you find it, you'll be better off. I don't know.
I
We're all
love
different.
it. No, I love it. This is so insightful, and like I said, I feel that there's so many people in that situation for such a long time, and you have people that their entire lifetimes, right? We hear about this all the time, that you get to your deathbed and there's so much regret, there's so much that you're like, why didn't I enjoy this more, why didn't I find the peace, why? There's all of these people that get to that point their entire lives, and they never get to that point when you're on that boat and you realize that you don't have to just be battling and being at war, and you can actually find peace and tranquility. And I also believe that firmly about, there is something that Tony Robbins says, I'm a huge fan, about sometimes we have to have enough pain associated with a circumstance until we have a door opening to change and shift our mindsets. And what that means is sometimes we have to feel enough bundled negativity or the weight of the world on our shoulders before we're like, okay, I need to let this go because I want. And a lot of people don't ever experience enough of it, and they get to that deathbed, and then the weight of the world is on their shoulder, and it's so late. So it's beautiful to know that you didn't even have to go to a course for this. You didn't have to, like, it was something that you realized all on your own. And I loved all the details you gave us about the boat and the waves and just how peaceful it was there, and that you just looked at something so much bigger than yourself and you found the peace in there. So Neil, thank you for being on the show today. I have a lot of takeaways. If anybody wants to contact you for your company services at Wired Solutions LLC, which you specialize in home, do you want to say that?
So what we do a lot of pre-wire new construction for custom homes.
Okay.
So we do audio, video, data, communications. We do surveillance, home automation, integration, home theater work, low voltage. We pretty much do it all, and we also work on existing homes. We do retrofits and we do remodels. We prefer the new builds, but hey, we'll take what we can get. Right?
Yeah.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Okay, and then how can they get a hold of you?
So you can reach me at 520-405-4680, and then we have an email address, and it is Wired Solutions LLC. Wired Solutions AZ. At gmail.com.
At Gmail. All right, Neil, thank you so much for being on the show. I really, really appreciate it. And then we'll definitely have to have you back because I want to hear more of those turning points. They were beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody, for listening to Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto, your best friend in real estate, sponsored by Tucson Appliance, Chris and Corbin Edwards. Chris and Corbin, thank you again for sponsoring this, for truly being an advocate for our Hispanic community leaders and really allowing us to share these stories. Just thank you for being present here, Neil, for really pouring your heart, because I feel like not everybody is open to truly pouring your heart out and sharing with the world. And I think that there's so many people that can take advantage of or have takeaways from this conversation. And it's beautiful to hear that sometimes it just clicks for people. I feel like I've spent so much money trying to figure those things out on my own, and I'm glad that I've done what I've done, but it's beautiful to hear when someone just had a moment in time where it changed everything for them and everything just made sense. So thanks for being on the show. Really appreciate you, and you guys, we will see you, and we will tune in next Saturday at 9:30 a.m. Lifting You Up with Kasandra Prieto, your best friend in real estate, sponsored by Tucson Appliance, Chris and Corbin Edwards. That was a mouthful. What did you think?
That's cool. It's good.
That was awesome.
You know, I was gonna tell you one of the things that, like, when you talk about winning or losing, right, and you you're gonna lose more than you win. Unfortunately, it's just part of life. But I'm a sports guy. Grew up watching Michael Jordan. How many times did he lose?
Oh, more than he won.
But when he finally got that taste of victory, that championship, all those losses, it's worth it. Like,
yeah.
If you always win, you can't savor a win. And then when if you always win and then you lose, how do you accept losing? How do you accept defeat? You can't, because you're only built to win. So
I love that.
But that's the truth. It's really the truth. Like you can't win without losing. It just, you can't. It's like a spoiled kid. If you grow up rich and spoiled, and then you go without, can you survive?
No.
You can't. It's not possible, because you don't know how to.
They will never.
Don't know how to.
They weren't built
So
that
if
way.
you know how to, and then you win, or you get rich or whatever, now you can. I don't know. It's my take on things. It's just, it really is.
I love it.
And it's funny you said the thing, because I have a friend who he wanted me to go talk to his men's group, but it's a religious thing. I'm like, dude, I don't do that. That's not what I do. And he's like, but you learned all of this like without any counseling, no help, no nothing. You just figured, it just clicked. I said, it kind of did, bro. It's really, it's inside.
Blew my mind right now when you're like saying like that's beautiful, but you don't normally, like, I feel like people don't function that way a lot of times. Like, most people have to put in time and effort, and all of a sudden it sounds like things just clicked for you.
And I think they do for everybody. It's just, are you gonna accept it or not? Because usually it's looking at you, but it's like, do you want to take it or not? You just want to it's like anything else, take it or leave it. And the whole thing about work, like I work with people at the phone company, excuse my language, like I fucking hate this, like blah 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 all the time. And I'm like, dude, shut up. Like, look what you're driving. You're driving a freaking Denali. Like, you're driving a Denali, an $80,000 SUV. You live in what is it, Savannah over there. And I don't want to call them out, but I'm like, you put all your kids in universities, not Pima College, Division I, right? Big time universities. Who paid for all that? You did. How? Could you pay for that without working here? No. So shut the hell up. Go to work.
Yeah, but it's true. It's getting, there's so many miserable people that are just not happy.
And so my nana, I love my nana more than she was my mom more than my mom. I loved her, but my nana was miserable her whole life. She was angry, hated everything. And she died, angry, upset. And it's just like, okay, for what? You're angry at everybody for so long. And then I'm not. That's what I was telling you, like, when I'm done, I'm done. I'm gonna go do what I want, I'm enjoy what I want to enjoy, for however long I get to enjoy it for, because why the hell am I gonna sit around and be worked up or angry or upset? I'm gonna finish off the rest of my life angry? No, I'm good. I'll pass.
Beautiful. But you have choice, and you know you have choice, and you're deciding. You do.
We all have choices.
Most people don't accept that. Most people are victims to their circumstances.
And I have to start, because you can't.
Well, most people are like the nana.
You can't. Look,
they're mad and angry the rest of their lives, and then they get sick, and then that's it. They're done.
You can't burn down your house and then come outside and be a burn victim. You burned it down yourself. It's your fault. You lit the match. We live for you.
Yeah.
Most people aren't willing to do that.
They're not.
You have to look in the mirror sometimes and say, maybe it's me.
And you know what? That's the most beautiful realization you'll have. That